Welcome to the first part of a series of video tutorials on Sybiz Vision development and developing third-party applications using Sybiz Vision's API. First thing, I'm going to go straight to Visual Studio and load that up. And we're going to go create a new project. Can be VB, C#, doesn't matter, and it's my third-party application. Okay. First thing to do is you come up to the menu here where you've got your debug and your CPU information, and you go to Configuration Manager. This is very important because Sybiz Vision's assembly is a 32-bit application, and you need to configure your application to also be 32-bit or x86. Click that and we're done. Next, we want to go and add the references to the Sybiz Vision assembly, or the platform should I say. So we'll go add references, we'll go browse, and I've gone to program files Sybiz Vision where the version that we're using is installed. And I'm going to go and add a few. First one, CSLA. Next important one, the platform. Holding the control key down. Next, we'll come to the top here and we will grab DevExpress data, DevExpress utils, extra editors, and extra tree list. Now those DevExpress ones, in my environment I don't need to worry because I've got them cached, but I would always just select them just in case. Later down the track we're going to try and remove those from our platform to make it a bit easier. The other ones I would then go and add as well are the Microsoft practices ones. Now we don't need all of them, I'm just going to add them to be sure. Hit OK. Then select those references, make sure they've got copy local to true and specific version to false. Next, you need to have an application config file which will store specific information. So we'll go to General Configuration File, keep the name the same, and that gets added. Now with the app.config you need to copy some configuration stuff out of the vision.exe config in the installed directory of Sybiz Vision. Okay, I've already got it open, the vision.exe.config file, and you copy from the config sections and down all the way down to the app settings. Okay, we'll copy that and then we'll place it right at the top here. That's your config file done. The last little bit of housekeeping is adding an existing file. Now in the real world you wouldn't add this file. It is there purely for having the connection information for your home, or for your common connection should I say. And you just make sure that this would always be in your application directory, or it's always in another directory that's related. So for instance, because I've got our product installed in program files, this file resides in program data. So I'll go and grab it, user setting. Okay, and you have to make sure that you flag this as copy to output directory. The next, we'll go into the project. We make sure the .NET target framework is .NET Framework 4. We turn off Enable Application Framework because I just find it better if setting up projects like this where they use a submain to log in, especially with the security side of things with the application. Hit save and we're done there. So now I'm going to go create a new class, call it main application, and then I'm just going to copy a snippet of code that I have in here to make it easy, and then I'll explain it. So at the top I've got an imports section which just makes it easier for me to type some code a bit shorter. I've got a connection string defined to a particular database. I then have this method or shared method called submain, which is used to fire off the application. I've got some exception blocks here. I'm not going to go into how to code in VB or C#, that's up to you. I set a few specific options to do with applications as far as the way they look, etc. And I set a smart date format for my CSLA.SmartDate control if you're using it. In most cases you won't have to worry about that. Then I say if not log in, so in other words if I haven't been able to log in, the application exits. If some major exception occurs, I capture it. If all's okay, I run my application. This just being a simple plain form. When I'm finished, I exit my application. The login code. Now I'll comment this code out here and explain that a little bit later. That constant I've got for a connection string, oops, I pop in there and I'm all ready to go. Now in the login, I always call a logout before I start, just in case. I then attempt to log in. If I'm successful, it returns true. If it doesn't, I check whether I've got need to display an error message, or if the error message is anything but an empty string. And then I show the error message, just with a message box. If some data portal exception occurs, I capture that and show that in a message box as well. And that's pretty much it. Now, I'm going to come up here where the database name is presented, and I'm going to take off this bit that says third party. I have a database called Vision Company, and if I run it, because it's on a newer version, it will present me in the error message box with incorrect database or application version. Means I'm on the wrong version. And you can query to be more specific as about to what that information is, but I'm just making it simple here. Let's put the third party bit back. Let's run the application. And that form that I had there now loads up, so I successfully logged in. When I close it, you'll notice that the debugger doesn't stop. So I have to manually stop it, and the reason for that is that when the application exited, I didn't log out. So on the form that comes up, in the form close event, I'm going to simply call logout. Alright. And then if I run this application and I close it, the debugger stops. So that's it for setting up your application with successful login credentials. View the next video in tutorial in the series, and I'll take a few steps further and show you the customer, maybe a presentation of some customers, and an ability to go and create an invoice against those customers. Thank you.